Hello, hello. The doc is in, and today we are in for quite the doozy. Episode 11 of season 2 of Demon Slayer, the season finale. It's very exciting. We got, I believe the episode was like 36 minutes long. Not quite an hour, but I mean, it's longer than a regular episode, and I'm happy about it. And with the longer episode, we have 3 full note cards of notes, because a lot of stuff happened, and it's all amazing. So let's just hop right into it. So, start the episode with, of course, the recap, but this time we're coming from the perspective of Tengen. And so basically, we see they got the head off, everybody gets the heads cut off and everything, whatnot. Tengen sees that the Gyotaro's body is starting to swirl up the blood because he's about to release his circular blood blade tornado. And basically he's like, shoot, we gotta get out of here. And he sees Tanjiro, and Tanjiro's once again dying, gasping for air. And he's like, shoot, we gotta run. And then the explosion starts happening, but not quite sure what happens. But Nezuko comes in, and she's basically able to use her blood demon art, and is able to turn the blood sickle tornado into, like, controls it and basically stops it from killing everybody, because that's totally what would have happened. So everybody's cool, great. Opening, and then we're into the thick of it. So we cut up to Tanjiro, and we're coming from his perspective, and basically he's laying in Nezuko's lap, and she's like, well, she doesn't say anything, but basically he's like, dang, I'm alive. And they're kind of, he's basically being like, oh, we're all good. Well, he's good. And so he's like, all right, I need to go find everybody, but he can't walk. Probably because he used up way too much energy. He had like 2 power boosts? Well, actually, not even 2, more like 3. 3 power boosts throughout the entire fight. Multiple times when he was like, shoot, I'm about to lose. I guess I'm out of gas for the rest of this season. And he's like, nah, I think I got one more in me. I'm like, what? But anyway, so now he's actually out of energy. And so Nezuko, in her child form, the most adorable form ever, then gives Tanjiro a piggyback ride to get him from place to place. And it is by far the cutest thing ever. Nezuko is a highlight of this entire episode. Very sweet, very adorable, kawaii, desune, funny, blah, 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 blah. It's amazing. And also, Tanjiro, during the time when he's basically like, shoot, I can't walk, is also like, wait, hold on, why am I alive? And he realizes that somehow the poison's been neutralized. But he doesn't realize that it was Nezuko who neutralized it. Yeah. But basically, he hears Zenitsu crying, screaming, or whatever, and he's basically like, bro, my legs hurt, and I'm in pain. What the hell happened? And basically, Tanjiro's like, you good? And he's like, yeah, I mean, I'm good enough. I mean, you should still be concerned about me, but my boy Inosuke over there, he's like, his heart's stopping or whatever. You should go check on him. And so then Nezuko and Tanjiro rush over there, and Tanjiro's like, shoot, he's gonna die. What are we gonna do? And Nezuko's like, watch this. He gives him a little pat on the chest and sets that man ablaze and gets rid of the poison. And we're like, oh, it's amazing. And again, this is all in child form. Still adorable. Cutest thing ever. Basically, Inosuke's been saved. He wakes up. He's like, bro, you need to get me a sandwich. And then Tanjiro starts ugly crying on Inosuke. And Inosuke's like, alright, guys. Enough tears, please. I just need a sandwich. From there, we cut over to Tengen and his wives. And they're going through a very similar situation. And they're just like, he's dying. And we can't figure out how to... the antidote we have for poisons isn't working. What are we gonna do? He can't die now. We got this far. He can't die now. And Tengen's basically like, it'll come to the end of the road. It's been nice to have you guys surrounded by my loved ones. Let me give you guys my last words. And I can't remember the cry ones. If you watch the episode, the cry one, though, the one who's basically crying the entire episode, is basically she's scream crying, and like she cuts him off to cry. And I'm like, okay. So then Makio jumps in and she's basically like, hey, what are you doing? He's trying to give his last words. And she's still scream crying. So Makio basically retaliates and is basically like, I'm gonna just beat your ass. I'm like, they're literally cutting him off on his effective deathbed. He's gonna, like, we even see Tengen think in his head, he's like, shoot, the poison's coming in. My tongue's starting to get stiff. Am I really gonna die without even being able to give my last words? I'm like, that's an L. That, if you really would have died there, that would have been the L of the century. Imagine doing all that work, right? Having this amazing animation, being the flashiest of the flashiest, having 3 wives. 3 wives is a W amongst itself, all right? Everything else can be put aside. He has 3 wives. Ain't they're bad, but he's on his deathbed, all right? He's going out like a fucking trooper. And his wives, the people who are supposed to care about him the most, won't even let him say his last words. That is terrible. But luckily, the goat of this episode comes in. Nezuko pulls up, cutesy and everything. Everybody's like, what? And Nezuko's just like, not to worry. Tap. And it sets that boy ablaze. Alright? It's kind of crazy because everybody's like looking at her like, what the fuck? Why is he on fire? And so then the cry one basically grabs Nezuko and she's basically like, what are you doing trying to cremate him on the spot? Like, you know, he's not even technically dead yet. Whatever. And I mean, it's cutesy. Obviously, it's supposed to be like a jokey scene. And it's pretty funny. But it's just like, dang, she was really got to throw hands with Nezuko. I mean, just don't let her turn to adult form. You might get stepped on. And that's real. But as is going on at this moment, Tengen's poison starts going away. And he looks better now. He's like, shoot, I'm not dying no more. Let's go. I don't think... Actually, I'll point this out. I assume that the injuries... I mean, obviously the injuries didn't heal. But my assumption is that the fire doesn't do anything except for get rid of the poison. It does not heal or anything. So even though after the poison's gotten rid of, everybody seems to be getting better, is mainly because the injuries are bad, but they're survivable. It's the poison that leads to the death. So as long as you get rid of the poison, you can kind of work your way around it, or work your way around the injuries. From there, Tanjiro re-enters the scene. He's basically like, "You're alive, great." And so he's basically like, hey, Tengen, don't move too much. Don't want you get hurt. Open up your wounds or anything. And Tengen's like, same goes for you. You gotta rest and stuff. But Tanjiro's like, nah. I need to make sure I find Dagi and Gyutaro. They're probably having their last moments. I'm not there to have a flashback with them. This is like my thing. And so Tengen's like, okay. And so Nezuko takes Tanjiro on another piggyback. Again, adorable. Love it. Kawaii desune. Blah, 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 blah. And they're running around and they're finding some of the upper demon rank blood. And so I completely forgot about this, but they go ahead and collect that for Lady Tamio. And the cat comes in and they give the knife with the blood in it to the cat. Cat disappears. They're like, cool. So that's great. And then proceeding from there, they're able to find the heads. And so once we get to the heads, they're arguing. They're going back and forth, and they're blaming each other for the defeat. Daki is basically going off on Gyutaro, and she starts getting violative, alright? She starts saying, like, bro, you so ugly you can't even be my brother, alright? I'm hot. Look at you. You got defects. You don't even got a ribcage, alright? You must be adopted. That's crazy. Imagine being alive for that, for like hundreds of years, possibly, and in your final moments, you're like, you know what? Fuck this guy. He can't even be my brother. Even though he saved your life, send him to the Shadow Realm. And you even see on Gyutaro's face, it's like the hurt. Like that he doesn't even have a heart at this time. But that hit him right there. I gotta feel for my man. And so then, she basically calls him useless. And he basically Daki calls him like useless outside of his strength. If he didn't have strength, he'd be useless to her, blah, 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 blah. And Gyutaro's like, ain't you the one who's supposed to be dead? Or didn't you get one shot first? Like, first time you saw Hashira, you got one shot? Come on, stop playing with me. And basically, he starts really going in on her. And she starts crying. I'm like, dang. Even as just the head, Daki is taking the L. She really is she's something. Anyway, um, so Gyutaro is basically going off, and Tanjiro and Nezuko are basically watching from a distance. They're kind of like not judging them, but like kind of seeing this all go down. And Tanjiro's like, you know what? I don't got no strength in my body, but family can really get you places. And he starts running over. He gets off Nezuko. He literally gets off Nezuko's back and runs towards them. And he basically stops Gyutaro as he's about to say, "I wish you were never born," because basically Gyutaro's being like, hey, I'm the GOAT. I'm the playmaker. I'm the MVP. What you're not gonna do is try to throw me under the bus. I'll throw you under the bus and you'll stay there. And so he's like, hey, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm protecting you, I might have actually had a good life. And he's really going in on her. And basically Tanjiro's like, hey, don't disown your sister, alright? Family is important. And he's like, y'all are horrible, horrible, horrible people. You guys have brutalized and killed a lot of undeserving people. And so, in death, you guys will be alone and hated by basically everyone. But at least you'll have your sister, or brother in this case. Well, brother or sister, going back, vice versa, going both ways. And so he's basically like, nah, y'all can't disown each other, you guys gotta stay together, because that's all you guys got. And so, going from there, basically, Daki starts disintegrating. Well, I mean, they're disintegrating throughout this entire process, but we really start seeing Daki really start disintegrating. She starts going away, and basically, she's like calling to her brother. He's basically like, I'm afraid, I don't want to die, etc., etc. And she just fades away. And you see, we cut to Gyutaro's head. At this point, Tanjiro has unclasped his mouth, and he's basically like, Umi! And then he remembers. He's like, oh shoot, that was her name. Umi's a much better name than Daki. And then he's like, no, Umi kind of sucks too, because that's how her mother died. Because Umi's a disease, I guess. And so then we got into the Gyutaro Daki flashback. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. Before we get into this shit was sad. This is very upsetting. Like, you really look at it, like, okay, I'll start talking about it, but it's rough. So, start off with Gyutaro. And basically, we find out they lived in the entertainment district, like I theorized in one of the earlier episodes. I think it was the episode where Daki and Gyutaro had their proper speech, and that was like round 1 of Tengen versus Gyutaro. And basically find out they lived in the poor area of the entertainment district, and basically in that area, like, kids were an L. Alright, if you had a kid, it is like, bro, we ain't got money like that. You really trying to feed another mouth? You're crazy. And so his mother tried to get rid of him before birth. Tried to abort him. Pretty rough. But she didn't. And then after he came to life, she was like, I'm still going to try to abort this kid. It's never too late. And so we literally see a scene of her beating him up as a child. Alright? He's probably not getting fed right. He's getting beat up by his mother, who already tried to abort him numerous times. And then we see, even when he's walking around just on the daily, he's getting rocks thrown at him by random women. What is going on? The abuse. And he's a child. And it's basically just because, one, he's just, he's a child in this area, but also because he's ugly. Imagine getting abused because you're ugly. Actually, that happens in real life, but that's neither here nor there. So basically, he's getting rocks thrown at him, and it's just depressing. He's getting beat up and stuff. We even see a picture. We see a frame of his face, and it's just like he has like the same birthmark as you see in his demon form. He got like the weird cloudy black thing on in the middle of his face. His eyes are all black. He has 2 black eyes. His face is all puffered up. His teeth are all crooked. It's depressing. Bro had it horrible. He's even eaten insects and rats. And the only thing he has to his name is little clothes and a sickle. It's rough. It's rough. But he says his life turned around when his sister was born, Umi. And she was beautiful. And basically, he's like, ever since she was born, it gave his life new purpose. Like, things were better then. And he was like, she was his pride and joy. And I was like, dang, that's sweet. And so basically, because, entertainment district or whatever, beauty is currency. Because she's hot, in essence. I mean, she's a child here, but the point is that she's supposed to be hot, like beautiful, whatever. And so basically, he becomes her debt collector. So I'm not quite sure what debts he's collecting from. What is Umi doing? You know, I'm just thinking about it right now. But you know, we're gonna pretend that she's selling feet pics or something like that. You know, something like that. And so basically, Gyutaro becomes the muscle, right? He learns he's pretty good at fighting. He's good at putting the hands on people. And so we see a scene of him basically beating up some guy who owes them money. And he's like, "Hey yo, bring me those buckets." And so he's like, "Oh, you know," as he becomes a debt collector, he's working with Umi and everything. He's like, "You know, I started to have pride in my ugliness." He used to really get it rough for being ugly, but now he's like, "You know what? Things are looking up for us." And so one day when he's out at work, out collecting debts or whatever, basically Umi gets into some trouble. Well, gets into some trouble. She stabs the samurai in the eye. You know, back in the day, this is like a long time ago. Back in the day, samurais were like basically celebrities. Actually, no, more like public officials, politicians or something. And so basically, she stabbed him in the eye. What was he doing with Umi? We're gonna not touch on that. But basically, she stabs him in the eye, and well, he's a samurai, so proceedingly, they burn her at the stake. Now, is that the logical reaction to something like this? Probably not. But who's gonna stop them? Not Daki. I mean, Umi. She's burnt to a crisp. And so, when Gyutaro gets back, he's basically like, "Damn, the gods really took away the only thing I had, and they didn't give me nothing. All right, my teeth chipped. I'm ugly. I was beat. I ain't never get to eat. All I had was my sister. And then you, in essence, cremated her alive. Luckily, she's not dead yet, but effectively burnt her to a crisp. Like she's done for. At the very least, she's no longer pretty. She's burnt." And so he's crying there. He's basically cursing the gods. He's basically like, "I'll pull up on you guys. I will swing as hard as possible. How could you do this to me?" And so as he's crying out, the samurai comes in and slices him in the back. I'm like, "Hey, yo, what the fuck?" And then one of the women, probably one of the people who owns one of the houses, like the prostitution houses, let's call them that. And basically she's like, "Oh yeah, thank you for getting rid of that boy, getting rid of those two. They were really a problem." I'm like, "They're children. They're children. How could you? The betrayal, the hatred you must have. It's different. She's a demon. She's a demon." But basically she's like, "Hey, thanks for helping us out, blah blah blah. Anyway, can you pay us for that, for your time with whoever?" And so Samurai's like, "Hold on that. Let me just finish off this kid real quick." And Gyutaro, he's not dead yet. He's like, "She really sold us out. She can get these hands first." And he comes out in the air. He does like a backflip super high, and he stabs the hell out of her. She gets it right in the nose. I'm just like, damn, that's cold. And she kind of deserved it. I mean, not even kind of. She totally deserved that. What the hell? And so she's dead. And basically, Gyutaro does like his monologue, similar to when Tengen and him first arrived, and like they had like their mini exchange, and he's basically like, "Oh, you know, you look like you've had a good life. You have a good body and a perfect face. Blah 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 blah." He's basically saying that to a samurai, and a samurai is like prepping to kill him. I'm like, he don't know what's about to happen. And so Gyutaro basically slashes down the samurai afterwards, and he takes his sister and he starts going out. He's like, "Hey, I need to get some help. We're dying here. I literally been sliced in the back, and my sister has been burnt to a crisp. We need help." He's walking, he's looking for help, but he gets nothing. And then he keeps passing, but as time passes, he's gotten cut in the back, he's bleeding out, he falls down. And it starts snowing, and it seems like that's going to be it for them. And that's the end of their backstory. Or, so it would have been if not for another one of the upper moons hadn't showed up. Now, I don't believe it's revealed what number the upper moon is. I know which upper moon it is, but I'm not gonna spoil anybody. You know, if you've watched this far in the video, thank you for watching this far in the video. But I'm also, because I have res- respect and appreciation for you to even go this far in the video, I'm not gonna spoil you. But basically, this guy, he's eating somebody. He got blood in his mouth and stuff. He's basically like, dang, y'all dying. You know, life is important. And y'all seem pretty cool or whatever. So, you know what? I'm going to give y'all some blood. And let's see if you guys turn to one of the upper moons like I did. And so he's just giving out the blood. His eyes are so beautiful. Like, if you look at them, they're like rainbow colored or whatever. They got like all the different colors in them. From there, he gives the blood to Gyartaro. And we cut back to Gyartaro's monologue. And he's basically like, you know, becoming a demon, no regrets. None absolutely whatsoever, you know. With the way he was treated as a child up until his death, it's like I can totally see why he'd be like, you know what, becoming a demon, this was the right way to go. Because fuck everybody. Because they really had it out for my man. It was horrible. So he's just like, I'm getting everything back in blood. Every single thing. Not nobody safe. Not a single person. But he's like, if I have any regrets, it would definitely be bringing my sister down this path. And he's like thinking about how, you know, she was beautiful. She could have lived a good life. It was the one for the fact that she was around me at a young age. She might have actually turned out as a good person. She might have, even in that situation with the samurai, she might have ended up gaining a lot from that predicament. Probably would have been able to go into the high life, maybe get married, had kids, all that stuff. If it wasn't for me, she would be on the right path. And so we go into the purgatory area where, you know, demons go, where they meet whoever is waiting for them before they die. And so Gyartaro's there, and he's in his demon form. He's like, well, I know where I gotta go. He's heading deeper into the darkness. And he sees Umi. Umi's like, oh, hey, Gyartaro, where are we at? And Gyartaro's like, don't follow me. I'm going this way. You go the opposite way. And Umi, I'll call her Umi because she's not in Daki form. She's in Umi form right now. And she's basically like, come on, bro. Don't leave me. Come on. We're a tag team double. Come on. You can't leave me behind. And she's basically like apologizing. She's like, you know, I didn't really mean that. I was just mad at the moment. You know, it is my fault that we lost, etc., etc. And Gyartaro's basically like, no. You stay. You're a little behind over there in the light, and I'm going this way, all right? Do better for yourself, basically. Basically, he's not really throwing himself under the bus, because he said himself that he doesn't really, he wants to be a demon. He always wants to be a demon. But he's just like, I want good things for her. Like, he cares about his sister so much that he would basically forgo his only family and be alone effectively forever in the effort to make sure she turns out okay. And basically, she's like, stop playing with me, alright? I always want to be your little sister, alright? You can't send me off, alright? We're supposed to stay together forever. And basically, she's like, don't you remember you promised that we would stay together? And we get a scene where basically they're in the snow, and like, I guess they don't have a house. And so he basically got some straw or whatever, and he's basically covering her. And like, while they're hungry and in the cold, he's basically like, nah, I always got you. We'll always be together. As long as we're together, we'll be just fine. And it's just like, damn. That's so freaking sad. And then basically she had jumped on his back and she's crying on him. And like, at first he's kind of like letting her hang on him, but he's not like moving or anything. And he like, basically like a piggyback ride. He basically grabs her legs or whatever, and he starts walking off into the flames and stuff. And Umi's still crying and everything. Well, not because she's going to wherever they're going, in essence hell, but because she's basically like emotional because of the situation. And like, they walk off into the fire together. I'm just like, damn, I mean, they're still horrible people, but that's like real. That was touching. That was touching. Seeing them walk off into the fire like that was real. That was real. That was some real sibling lovery right there. From there, we cut back into the real world, and we see Igoro, the snake pillar, talking to Tengen. He's basically like, you this hurt, and you only beat an upper rank 6? I mean, it's upper rank 6. I mean, it's still upper rank, but only upper rank 6? Like, come on. And so Tengen's basically like, alright, I am black, so before if anyone sees this, Yes, I'm black. Don't worry, but I just gotta keep it real. Tengen's like, nigga, shut the fuck up, alright? I'm retiring, alright? I did my job. I beat an upper rank. I promised to my wives that after you beat an upper rank, we out of here. So you know what? I'm done. And Igor was like, hey, you gotta chill, alright? I understand you lost your hand, lost your eye, but when you gonna recover? You know, we gotta get back into the fight. We got a lot of the younger Demon Slayers are dying like in droves, and we already lost Rengoku recently. We don't have a replacement for him. Like, you can't just leave. And Tengen's like, nah, my nigga, nah. I got a perfect replacement for one of us. And Igoro's like, oh really? What do you got? And Tengen's like, no, that nigga you don't like, him. And Igoro's like, you cap it. You not seriously saying Tanjiro. He lived, and we cut to Tanjiro, and he's vibing. He's looking up into the stars. Actually no. I think I skipped over a part. Basically after the whole memory scene, he's basically like, oh, did they get not get back together, but like, you know, make up with each other. He's basically like, oh, did they make up with each other as like their dust goes off into the sky or whatever. And then you have the Igoro scene, whatever. And then we come back to them, and they're like looking off. Nezuko and him are looking off in the stars, and then they go looking for Inosuke and Zenitsu. They get together, and everybody's basically kind of like heading out. Tengen and his wives are basically like, "Ayo, we're going home. We're finished. Going home to a hero's welcome. We're gonna vibe and be flashy. It's a great time." And we see our lovely group is crying in relief. Oh, I skipped over a scene. So we see Tengen walking off, and we cut to Lord Kaguya, the leader of the Demon Slayer Corps, and he's just found out that Upper Rank 6 has been beaten. He's like, hey yo, this ain't happening. It's been over 100 years since we had some shake up like this. All right, it's time. And like we see him, and he's whatever thing he has going on. It's a curse, but I don't know if that's been revealed just yet. But basically, he's like super sick. All right, he's bedridden. He's literally, as he's talking about this, he's not even doing much, but he's coughing up blood, and like he's dying. But he's excited. He's like, shoot, we beat an Upper Rank 6. All right, this is a big tipping point, guys. This is gonna really shift up the meta. All right, the world will never be the same after this one. And so he's like dying, and so like as we're cutting away from him, it's like his kids are basically like getting him something like make him feel better, probably getting him tea or whatever. And yeah, I don't know how much longer he has left in the series, but yeah. From there, we cut to my upper goat, Akaza, and basically he's in wherever the lower rank demons met before they were brutalized, except for Enmu. And so he's just standing there. He's like, the Infinity Castle. If I'm here, then that means one of the upper ranks were defeated. And he's like, ayo, this ain't never happened in 100 years. What's going on? And so we leave there, and we see like somebody playing the shamisen or whatever, but we only see their hands. We don't really see them. And so from there, then we cut to our boys. They're all crying or whatever, and that is the end of the season. And I cannot say enough. This was a really good season finale. I wouldn't say it's a 10 out of 10. If there was some fighting in it, you might have caught me with a 10 out of 10. If you would have had a scene, one scene, I was under the impression that we'd have a scene where basically we would see Muzan and all the upper ranks, all what's left of the upper ranks, basically having like a little meeting or something. That was what I was under the impression of. If I would have seen that, 10 out of 10. Easy. No silhouettes to get to see them all. Maybe a little bit of personality here and there. It would have been dope. But we didn't get anything like that. But we did get to see another one of the upper ranks. He looks pretty cool. And we got to see Akaza the goat. So, I mean, take what you can get. And so, yeah, amazing episode. Animation was great. Gyutaro and Umi's backstory is depressing. It really says something about life. You know, we really live in a society type beat. All right. Tengen's retired. He didn't die. Really happy about that, but he's done. It seems like nobody's gonna be taking like not lasting damage, but ain't nobody really like get hurt. But I guess that kind of makes sense. I mean, obviously they need to make it all the way to the end, and they don't have like any magical healing in the show, so like Tengen's out of the game because he got hurt. He only lost his hand and his eye, and like he's done. So it's a good thing nobody got hurt. Can't wait for next season. I'm not quite sure what's gonna happen in that one, but I know it's gonna be cool. I guess Tandra's gonna be offered to become a Hashira, and probably the other two might even be offered too. I mean, offered as well, since they also be an upper rank demon. Given was the weaker one, but they still beat an upper rank demon. It's still a feat. So, yeah. I'll probably do like a season review and do like a comprehensive like thoughts thing. Maybe subscribe. Thank you for watching once again. The doc is out. Peace.